Hi everyone, this video is part one of making a Resin Mermaid keyring. I've already mixed up the resin because I didn't really want to spend 5 minutes at the start of the video mixing the resin. The one that I use, you have to mix 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener. It's really important with resin that you get the mixture right because otherwise it just won't work. It'll either be very sticky and won't come out the mould, or it will crack. So apologies if you can hear the noise in the background. They're building a block of flats next door, so unfortunately I can't really help that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get this mermaid mould, which makes this kind of this size, which is quite a nice size for key rings. Okay, I'm just going to get my paintbrush and this white powder. I'm just going to paint inside here. This gives it a really nice pearlescent effect once the resin's dry. Another option is to mix the powder in with the resin. That looks good as well, but if you experiment and see which option you prefer. Okay, when I'm doing different colours in resin, I do prefer to use different brushes just to stop mixing up the colours in the tubs. So I've also got this little pink one. I think pink always looks nice on a mermaid's tail, so just brush that into there as well. There we go, that's all done. Now, along with the mermaid's tail on a keyring, I think it's always quite nice to have some little shells or a starfish or some fossils, just to give it that little bit of a nicer effect. So I'm also going to put some colour on these. So I'll just put a little bit of pink and white in the shell and then the fossil. You can do this really roughly, it doesn't have to, you don't need to take a lot of time over it, but it will still have a really nice effect when it's finished. Sit and do a bit of pink in those as well. There we go, so there's a little shell in there too. Now if you look at these two up here, this one here, because it's pearlescent, this is one that I've painted the mould rather than added the colour into the resin, whereas this one, the colour is in with the resin, so it's quite a similar effect. But as I said earlier, just have a bit of a play around and see which effects you prefer. Now I think I might have a couple of seahorses as well. If you make too many, you can always keep them for another keyring or another project that you're doing. It's better to have too many than not enough. Okay, now rather than pouring resin into these smaller moulds, I prefer to just use my stick to just guide it to where it needs to be. Now it's up to you at this stage whether you want to add something to the resin to make it sparkle or to add an effect to it. I've got a few examples up here. We've got buttons, there's gold foil you can use, gold glitter, sequins, it's all sorts of things. So let me just get these in here. I'm not going to fill them up at the moment because I am going to add a little bit of glitter as well to these. So I'll just put that much in for now, because obviously the glitter will bring the level of the resin up a little bit anyway. So that's that one. You've got to be a little bit careful with the seahorses because there's so many little details in there. You just need to make sure that the resin is all the way into where it needs to be. And the little gaps. That's it. Okay, so this video I'll just be showing how I put the resin into the moulds, and then once they're dry, which will be 12 hours with this resin. You can also get 24-hour resin. I don't really find much difference between the two, which is why I tend to go for the quicker one. Then I will show you how to take them out of the moulds and how to make them into key rings. So for these, I'm going to put a little bit of this gold leaf in. Right, so let's just get my pliers. Hold on a minute. Okay. So I've done a few experiments with using tweezers and pliers, and I find that the best are these little tweezers with the round ends on them. So just pick some of this up and drop it in here. You can put as much or as little as this as you like. And you can also add glitter on top of this. You don't need to just put this in. You can add as much decoration as you want into your resin. These are also nice with flower petals as well when you're using the gold. So just put a little bit in those as well. This will have a really nice effect when it's dry tomorrow. You sometimes find that when the weather's a bit cooler, the resin can take a little bit longer to dry. In the summer it can be quite quick. Sorry about that, I'm working from home at the moment and my phone's ringing. But I am on my lunch break, so that's alright. Oh, that was a bit bigger than I thought it would be, that piece. Okay, so I'm not going to do it in all of those, just some of them. Okay, I've also got these little sequins, which have a nice sparkly effect when they go in. So I'm just going to drop a few in each one, just for that extra effect. If you're making these for gifts, then it's quite nice just to have a little bit of extra detail and extra sparkle in them. Without that, we don't want any hair. Okay, and then if you just continue to fill up the moulds, making sure that all the gold and all the sequins are completely covered in resin. We want it right up to the top, but not overfilled, because then you get little bits of resin at the side when it's dry. But then you want to make sure there's enough in there, otherwise it can sink down a little bit when it's dry as well, and then you need to just top it up afterwards. There we go. These are going to look really nice when they're dry. So don't forget, although there's not much decoration in some of these little shells and things, they do have the pearlescent powder, so they will have a really nice effect on them when they're finished. And these are just little details that are added to the keyring. The main feature of it is the mermaid's tail. That's that. I think I put some in that little one there as well. there we go. So we've got a mermaid's tail, 2 seahorses and some shells ready to put on our keyring when it's ready tomorrow morning. So I'll be adding another video tomorrow called part 2.